Hi everyone. If you don't already know me, I'm Joe Maria. I play the oboe. Yeah. All right. So let's get started. So let's just start by doing B flat, concert B flat on a level. So I'll cue you in and we'll just play concert B flat. That sounded really good. Let's make sure to listen to your neighbors and make sure that we're all playing. We're not covering up our neighbors. Let's try that one more time with better balance. Cool. All right. So we're going to do that one more time, but this time when I raise my hand up, we're going to go up the B flat major scale. One of the things that I was listening for was that fourth note, because when I was in middle school, at least, there was a lot of people who played E natural instead of E flat, for example. So that's great that we all got that right away. So let's try doing the full scale now on quarter notes. So I know the conductor, and we'll play a B flat scale on some quarter notes. All right. That sounded good. Once again, let's make sure to listen to our neighbors and make sure that we're not playing over anyone else. We all want to be heard, so let's make sure that we're not playing as loud as we possibly can, all right? Let's do one more time. Good job. Let's try something a little different, and let's do this on a rhythm. So, can we all repeat this rhythm after me? Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. All right, great. So what we're going to do is like da 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 da. Does that make sense to everyone? Cool. All right. Let's go right ahead. So, one thing that we should be clear on here is make sure that our articulations are not muddy. What I'm hearing a lot of is a lot of like fwa, 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 fwa. Make sure that it's nice and crisp. Ta, 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 ta. Can we all say that one with me? Ta, 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 ta. All right, let's try that one more time. I'm going to do that a little bit better. That was a lot better. All right. Does anybody want to give me a rhythm that we should do? Like, just make up your own rhythm. Anybody? All right. I saw your hand.
Ta, 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 ta.
Okay. Let's all say that together. Ta, 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 ta. All right. Cool. Let's do the B flat scale on that rhythm. Great. That was really good. All right. Let's try something a little different this time. Does anybody know what a round is? Feel free to shout out the answer. Anybody know what a round is? Shout out the answer. Does anybody know?
That's part of a fifth grader. What's a round? A circle.
Yes. Okay. So, you have the right idea with the circle thing. We're going kind of in a cycle. So, what that means is that we're all going to be playing the same thing, but at different times. So, we're going to start with just our low voices on the first measure, doing half notes on a B flat scale. And then in the second measure, our middle voices will come in on the same B flat major scale. So the two will be playing different notes. And then on the third measure, finally, our high voices are coming. So let's go up the scale and down. And when you get to that bottom B flat, just hold it out. And it'll make a nice chord. Yes.
Okay. So this time you go through round. This time before you start, the more you have, the more comfortable you get. Crazy cool. So this time, think about the actual tempo you want them to go.
Okay.
And then you want to make the prep in the tempo that you intend to take. And don't wait for it. So what's happening is you give the prep, the stick comes down, they're new at their instruments, it takes a minute for the air to get in there, and there's this lag because you know they're now half a stick behind you.
Okay.
And then you go over to beat two. So ignore that. You keep going because they will catch up. But there is this is why it slows down. This is why it slows down. Right? Because you're seeing you have to breathe with the stick, you have to push the instrument, push the air through the instrument. And what's happening is he's coming here, duh, and y'all are just after that. But it will eventually right itself. And
Okay.
if you slow down to catch them, there'll be this feedback loop and it will slow down and slow down and slow down.
Okay.
And think about it while you're doing the thing.
All right. So we're going to try this round on half notes, just a reminder.
Right? Take the tempo. And you are measuring on right now. Right in the first like measure.
All right.
we're gonna prep and conduct the bar.
Okay.
Ready? You feel it driving the first beat, y'all see it? Okay, so think in your head, click, 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 go. Click, 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 better. Now, like, hold that in your spirit, and now y'all start with it.
Okay. That felt different.
Yes, and, how did that look? Can you tell the difference? It's the consistency. Players don't understand time until they see a few beats. Like, this doesn't give you any time, not really. Like, if you get that's why the prep is important, like up, down, that's like 2, tick, tick. That then you do know what time it takes 2. But most of the time for us, it's like prep, tick, tick. Oh, now we know the tempo. And if you go tick, tick, wait, then we got ourselves. We start.
Okay.
Got it? Yes. Look better.
All the time, man. Okay, that was just about what I was going to ask.
Right. Next turn.
Thank you.
So as I understand the way we're gonna like run the pieces is that you're gonna get, or at least, I think the cool thing to do would be to give conductors like 5 minutes for a clean run through. I'm not gonna say anything, I'm not gonna do anything, let you run it. If the group gets away from the conductors, it's perfectly fine to stop, go back to the last decent rehearsal number and collect people again, so that you have a good experience and everybody, for the most part, goes all the way through it as clean as possible. But if it's starting to like fray at the edges and people just aren't with you, there's no point in continuing, so it's okay to do that. But maybe you don't have to. And then you get to the end of it and then we'll go from there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maddie, and I am also an oboist. And we are starting with Russian folk dance tonight. Before we get started, I just want to take a look at the roadmap real fast. So you see we're going, and then once you get to measure, I believe, measure like 75, you see DS, the little squiggly thing, coda. So when you see that, we are going to go back to measure 9. And then we're playing, starting at measure 9 again. And then once you get to play measure 23, see the little coda, the little circle with the plus sign in it. We're going to jump to measure 77 after that. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Excellent. Question already? I'll give you 1 and then you're in. Ready, first read, everyone.
Nice on the.
Great.
I'm sorry.
What were you most worried about?
Who am I most worried about?
What were you most worried about?
Not completely screwing up and falling apart.
Alright, so far,
Biggest
okay,
Yes, exactly.
so we're most worried about your, I mean this kind of come out here. You're most worried about yourself.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's actually about right for kind of where we are. Okay, so now you know that you're okay.
Yes.
Now, what are you worried about this group of musicians? Now that you've done this with them, what's something that's sticking in your mind that you kind of wish that you think could be better?
I'd say there's two things that come to mind.
Talking about the score, just talk to me about the sound.
Balance and matching articulations.
Balance and matching articulation, right? Which one do you want to do first?
I think articulation.
I think that's a good one. And actually, they do kind of go hand in hand. So I think you've got a good thing. All right, so whose articulation are we going to work with?
So upper wood is where it's most varied.
Right? All right, well, we got everyone together. So let's see what we do.
Okay. So
You're gonna, so music, pick about 8 bars.
Okay.
That has the thing in it that you're most worried about.
okay, so flutes and elbows. I want you all to just say your rhythm first in the style that the articulation shows from the beginning up until measure 9. Keep in mind there's a bunch of different things here. We got the tenuto marking with the staccato, we got accent marks, we got staccatos. There's a lot going on.
You probably want them to see it, and there's all kinds of ways to see it.
So
You could have do some variation on top or T, or you could have do some variation on doing this. Take one.
okay. First bar. That sound like ta 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 ta. Does that make sense? Alright, so keeping all of that in mind, can we say your rhythm on the first 8 bars? I'll just conduct you all through that. That was much better. Now can I hear you all play it? Those first 8 bars.
Take a little bit off the prep. I don't want to get too much in here. Just bring the hand up. You're doing a little bit of it, which is great. Like, this is fine, but there's nothing but to really see it. Move the elbow. That's all.
It's better. I think for going into the sections in like measure 1 and measure 3, for example, where we start going on the accents, going to the slur with the staccato under it, I'd like there to be more of a lift off of that note. Let me just try it one more time, keeping that in mind. Better, much better.
Okay. Now what do you want to do?
There's a root of alto saxophones. Alright, so there's this cool little counter melody situation going on in the alto and tenor saxophones, and there's no horn.
Be reminded there's some funky things going on around here. I can see one of them right now.
I couldn't understand.
There's some funky things going around in here, and I can see one of them around here.
etiquette.
Think rehearsal etiquette. Rehearsal etiquette. Beginning band. If you don't see it, it's okay. But just keep an eye. Keep pointing out. It's alright.
I see the clarinet just standing up on the
Yeah.
Let's make sure we're holding our instruments with both hands, please. Thank you. 5 minutes, all right. So, alto saxophones, horns, and trombones have a school of accountability about 25, 1, 2, 3, like 4 after 25, the da 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 da, that part right in there. I want you all to hear this, and I want to know, did you all hear this when we ran through? So we're going to start 4 after 25, alto and tenor saxophone, horns, and trombones. Just want you all to listen to this real fast. Were you all hearing that when we ran through? Yeah, so this means that people who don't have a melody were being too loud. We want to let that part ring through. I know your dynamic there is marked as mezzo forte. Maybe bump that up to a forte, and everyone else maybe come down to like a mezzo piano or so.
So for that passage and practice that passage.
Okay. So starting at 4 after 25, everyone listening for that part and the saxophones and the horns and trombones. Were you all able to hear it better that time? Good, so that means the balance has improved greatly in this one. Okay. How much time? One more thing.
Why don't you stay with that? Right? Stay with that same passage. You're gonna continue to refine that, like what you just heard, you're gonna continue to refine it. What would you want to try?
Yeah.
Let's have a play game. And while they're playing, your job is to.
Alright. Same section again. 4 after 25.
Like when you turn off the score, sorry, and I'm not trying to think of like, yeah, but like, you get your head up and you listen, and you can listen with your eyes as well. Okay, things that you would, what would you want to do from there?
It's a very top heavy.
Okay,
So,
by top heavy, you mean what?
like, upper woodwinds, I'm hearing a lot of you. The trumpets, I'm hearing a lot of you. Not hearing enough Lisa and Lucy. Not hearing enough of you all.
Okay, so how are we gonna do that? I mean, look at this, look at the instrumentation for this group, right? Like, there's 2 back there. And who else doubles? I did close the door. Who else doubles Lisa and Lucy? Small band score. This is a 4-line score. Who else doubles them?
Joe.
Right, so can you have the people that play that bass line play about 8 bars together? Okay. Wherever we are. I don't know where.
29.
You're right here.
Okay.
Alright.
And listen to them play.
Alright.
You also double them?
The da da da. What is it?
Good job. Alright, take two. Now with everybody. I like this new twist, by the way. Okay. Just run this last part one more time. Thank you.
You haven't used the whole idea afterwards. You see this stuff, then you're like, okay, what would I want to do different about and afterwards.
Hey you, I have another one for you too, and I'll have another one for you too soon.
They're right. I don't need those. What's the next one?
Hi guys, I'm Nathan. I'm a cold leader, so I don't know all of you already. Well, I know some of you. And I'm excited to work with you guys. So we're going to be doing Lydian Lullaby. And this one, so we just did a really fast, really energetic piece. This one's going to be a lot slower, calmer, mellower, just peaceful and enjoy it.
Stop talking now, start playing.
Okay.
I'll explain why in a minute, I'm not being rude and ugly. I promise.
From the very beginning. Good job, guys. That was a great first read. Oh.
So, what are two big things in your head right
I think just confidence on where we're gonna enter, and a couple of those is me, but a lot of that is just, yeah. And then I guess one of the main things that this piece kind of focuses on is the expression in dynamics. So like,
now? Great. Confidence will probably come. So what would you like to do first? There's not a right or wrong answer here. It's like,
you want me to get a drink before?
when you think about the sound, first.
I want to go back to the very beginning. And in measure 4, the clarinets come in with this beautiful melody. And I think you all were a little, I know all the entire clarinet section, you all were a little shy on that. So I want to start right there. And then I think the alto 2s, do we have any alto 2s that are playing? Yes, so then that'll come in measure 9. So I just want to hear starting in measure 4, and then when you come in measure 9, yeah? I just want to hear that. Let's see how that goes, okay? So I think that's measure 5 clarinets. Ready? That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
We have a symphony saxophone.
Yes.
We have a saxophone with a mouthpiece upside down.
Oh, wait, really?
Wait, was that for me or was that
For you. It's okay.
Thank you, Lucy.
Good job.
So when your mouthpiece is upside down, so
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Good job. Reading band is so much fun. Okay. Let's try that one more time. From pick up to measure 5, with our lovely saxophones coming in at measure 9, with our mouthpieces in the right.
I think that for all would-be conductors, when you start to hear the band giggle, you know something's up. You just have to go find it. Something is happening.
Okay. Same place, yeah. That sounded so good, guys. So now that we have that all solidified, let's go back to the very beginning. I want everybody to play, and we're all going to listen for that melody to come in, yeah?
Perfect. That's exactly what you said.
Cool. Very beginning, y'all.
Because if you're
Everybody.
listening for that melody to come in, what are you going to be doing? Yeah, yeah. And it's a musical instruction. To listen rather than a technical instruction. So you are the authority of what you will be doing. I like that. Good job.
Very beginning. guys. So the next thing I want to highlight, you guys came in so strong and confident at measure 17, but because you guys came in so strong and confident, we had nowhere to grow from there. So I want you guys to come in at 17 again, but this time try to be a little more, bring it back a little bit, and then we'll grow as we go into measure 25. And then when the trumpets come in, the glory of whatever being above and we'll be ready for 25. Yeah, we won't already be at that point, like hovering there at the top. Yeah. So let's try it again. Perfect. Let's go to measure 9. Yeah. Just right on it. You guys sound great.
They've got the tempo, it's fine, you're doing fine with that. So less about that, it's more about moving around the stick. And you can kind of, like, normally with young conductors, I'm like, let's get the left hand involved. And I think in your case, like, think of this as like character, and this is time. So you want to, we're moving time, your stick can also convey character, okay? And this is like, right?
Yeah.
Think about that and pick a spot and go and do about 16 bars.
Sure. So let's go pick up to 49, maybe a little bit of an awkward spot, but it's a good place to this any. So that'd be like flutes and trumpets. Yeah. And then the alto sax will come in one beat into the yeah.
And think the song phrase. Sure. Let's do that one more time, and I want everybody, so like at measure 55, think about starting softer and growing, and coming back down. You guys probably all see those little thingies that look like this, yeah? So try to do those as dramatic as you can for me, yeah? 55. Right on it. Ready?
No, I'm not doing that. Hey.
Lucy's over the cushion.
For the dinosaurs, we're over here. Who's ready? All of you good. So we're just gonna go ahead and run each movement. One by one, we have 4 movements. Which means the piece is gonna stop and it's gonna start again, and it's gonna be pretty different. So, and we're just gonna maybe work on one thing in each movement. Okay? You all situated with cups? Oh, percussion. Say after me, please. So, I have a question. Are we gonna have someone on snare and someone on bells? Do we have the bell part out?
Using napkins.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because the bell part is important for you.
I'm not sure if we have a bell.
If not, it's okay.
I don't think we have it, sorry.
It's okay.
We have
Alright. Dinosaur time. You're on 2-4. I'll give you 1. And then you get a cup. Eighth notes, right? What is on top of those, or below those 8 notes? Staccato, and a slur. So that articulation pattern, slur 2 and tongue 2. As you get older and play more music, that's going to be something you're going to see a lot, so that's a really important thing. Flutes, you have the same thing at measure 19. See that? Yeah, that's done. Okay? Keep that in mind.
If you call it out, stop a minute and let them play it for you. If you call it, they should play it.
Trumpets, you found that right? Let's hear it. Ready? Lucy, where I'm at? Measure 19, 2 before 21. Anyway. So, alright, I like that. You know what? Let's move on to movement 2. Trombone's my fun part. See that quarter note and the suture. You've got the quarter note on B4. Shut down.
Lucy, Jackie, you have the best teacher face.
Let's start at 21, how about that?
Kudos, good job.
21, 21. Alright, movement 3. Go a slap. There's something in the music there, R-I-T, it says RIT. And you remember what that means? Nice try. Dum, da, 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 da. Let's try from number 29, and see if we can get that in. I know it's gonna be hard, because we're looking at notes and stuff, and it's hard to do that, but we can try. 29?
You're doing it, they're just not doing it with you. Get conducting points for that, like the retard is there, y'all are just cranking it up. Okay, I'm gonna interrupt because I'm watching the clock. One, like, I think you know the piece and I think you got a good idea about what's going on and having to corral your colleagues here. You can talk, you can wake them up in the back and all these other things and still maintain your train of thought. Like, that's really hard to do, folks. It's gonna be really easy as a teacher sometimes to take things like that and sort of take it personally, and then you're just like, stop talking, and you get right back to work. That, what you did right here tonight, if you do that the rest of your career, you're gonna be so, actually, if it's okay, can you do a little left hand? Because like, I think a lot of the other things are really nice, if you're listening, you're giving really good instructions, right, hands easy to follow. awkward at first if you're right-hand dominant. If you are left-hand dominant, then all the right-hand gestures are gonna feel awkward. And that's usually stiff, and so I'm not doing that. But I'm assuming that you're right-hand dominant, and I'm just thinking the comfort hand, and that this is the weak hand. So I want you to think a minute about gestures that look confident and authoritative. So I want to start with like, how do you cue someone in where they know that you mean it, but it also doesn't look like, oh, come in now. Like there's purpose behind it. And so have you been taught, I'm curious if you've done this, have you been taught not to point at people?
Right, not
Yeah, like this is kind of, like, I'm not saying I haven't done it, particularly that 7th grader that is not paying attention. Your teacher face is great, you worked that too. And over the maps, like, she's got the best one, like, I'm gonna do what she says. And so most of the time you save that point for the misbehaving 7th grader. So when you think about, when you want someone to play, how does that hand look? What do you think?
depends on the style.
Okay, it depends on the style. So we've got, what do we just do?
Gentle, flowing.
Okay, show me a gentle flowing cue and cue in Nathan. Okay, so you see where the arm is?
That.
Yeah, how many do we have? Like,
Two
so
right
this
by
is-
each other.
This is really, like, this is kind of way out in the body, right? So is there a way you can make the same gesture but a little closer to the body? Like, here? Does that feel weird to you? If I reach out for Nathan, it's like I don't trust him. Right? So I just need, like, now, which way do you want the hand? Do we want to do it this way? Do we go this way? Do we go that way? If we pull him towards us? Pick any one of those. Which one do you think? Okay, now, great. Do the same thing again. This time turn the hand over and see what it sounds like. Weirdly, we follow hands turned over. This, we're not sure where it ends. This, we can take right here, Nathan, this is where you start. Right there. This is where you start, you have a harder time with that. Right? So you use an upraised hand lots of times, but when you're cueing folks in, you kind of want to be able to, in space somewhere, say, here is where you come in. Here. So try to turn the hand over. I think it'll look you a little more confident. And then, however you do it, you're right, it's characteristic. That is my coaching suggestion for your production tonight because of time.
So you have like 2.5 minutes.
Okay, so practice something that has cues, or go to a movement you haven't done. Aren't we down a movement?
No.
Okay. What you may choose. You're the conductor. What do you want to do?
Let's do movement 3. Yeah. Actually, no, let's do movement 1. Show us. I know. Let's do a short session, another 1 minute. 4. Top of the race.
Right, this part movement. That's what you want to do, right?
I'm missing part. I'm doing my thing.
Because that's gonna work. I'll give you a little start quiet, grow a little, grow a little, grow a little. I'll give you a big upbeat and a big downbeat, and then we're in. Okay?
X and an X and then change it here. Okay, so start like here, and then change the stick here. Make it incredibly different.
So 4 before 10, let's measure 6.
Let's start time.
I mean, a fifth grade, sixth grade.
Hi.
My name is Allison. I'm a junior in education. Excited to finally. Today we're going to be doing Delta's Tree Gun. Feeling happy. So it's going to be a good time. We're going to start with percussion. So whenever percussion you're ready, someone could be on this shrine. Well, someone on percussion floor or the tongue.
Okay. You wanna just leave it with the Santa?
Problems? I'm gonna give 3 and I can have 4. There's a beautiful tone decisions being made. And so let's just regroup. Let's go back to 39, which is a trio. We kind of have like a set change here. Like I like to think of it. We're decrescendoing, moving into a new section, and then the key changes. So please be aware of the key change. So let's start at 39. So and then beautiful Clara melody. Please bring that out. And everybody else, let's listen to that. So let's just start the trio. Okay, 4. Coming out. I'll breathe on 4 this time.
so, how many rest of you are feeling this now? Like, so that may be part of that. Right. So let's, without overly thinking this too much. Okay, here's your band, they just read this piece. You gotta think of the next thing to do. Okay, what do you think could be a good next thing to do? There's no right answer, I just wanna know what you think.
I'm thinking of maybe going back to that trail section.
And why did we go off the rails? What was it about us going off the rails? Trust me, your kids aren't gonna have little white pieces of paper telling them how bad you're doing when you actually get them. But, so what made us go off the rails, do you know?
I think either one, like counting into that section and then the key change, like not knowing a certain note and then not being able to recover.
Okay,
You have a melody?
let's go back to the trio.
Yeah.
Alright, how many,
Hang on.
how many different musical things are going on? And what I mean by that is, we're gonna, actually, well, you're not, is working in layers, so how many layers of sound do you think is going on? This is kind of one thing, right? And then we have percussion. Then, actually, you don't get over here. Pick a layer, or pick a family, like pick women's or brass, start there, and then add to that. So what would you like to do?
Let's go with woods first.
Okay. And in your mind, as you're looking at the score, where do you think the first one, if you're worried about key signature, where's the first place you think you'll hear it be brass? So, let's look at a chord. So, they're gonna add a flat. So you find the first B in the trumpet part in the score and make sure you listen. Same thing with clarinets, like, right? It's hard to read the score. They've had nothing, so this note, to your ear and see if the clarinet's actually playing it. So work it in layers and hunt for the notes of the sound.
So let's have clarinets and bassoon. Let's just start at 39.
39?
39. Let's add in saxes and horn.
Good choices, really good choices. Wire saxophone is a good choice. Three people, they often play together.
So let's add,
Nicely.
yeah, let's add into our clarinets and bassoon.
Yeah, about 5.
You know what might help that is if you stop blowing air after you finish. And then you'll find out. For all woodwind, for all woodwind players. So, okay, so obviously horn, there are some things in there. I think he has some accidentals going on that might cause some issues.
Where?
At 39, so well, when you're getting to it around probably your E flat, like in 44. Watch out for that E flat. Let's do that again. Make sure E flats are in there, and then at the end, make sure your A flat is in there. So, same people at 39.
there is someone in the band who is not playing something right. Next, we have to figure out who it is. Do you have a suspicion?
Well, I hear Nathan Aguilera making some noises.
What kind of noises is Nathan making?
I'm hearing some squeaking, but I know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, and that's for real, it's not a prank.
Oh.
I understand.
I'm glad I really can't do it. Alright? One of your problems. Alright, what's the next thing that you're troubling you, that you can hear?
Our French horn player.
Yeah,
So
and
the
if
notes,
the
yeah.
French horn is kind of what? You're probably not gonna find an answer, right? Okay. So we need to help the horn, and we don't really know what he's doing. So let's give him a combination, get him to play something, let's see what we can figure out. Sometimes you really know that there's something, but you just don't know what it is. Okay? You just know that there's something. Don't be shy. Just like you turn into like a nuclear submarine, and you're going to find it. If it takes you going, and I will recommend this, if it takes you going to every last person in the band, but you really wouldn't do that. You're gonna try to get it down to some place where, like, you think the horn's got something going on, you don't know what it is, so pick a spot and play it again and see if you can figure it out. What would you put with a horn that might make the horn more comfortable? Let's do that. Let's do saxes, trombones, and horn. They're gonna play, but what are you actually gonna be looking at? The horn part. Can you? This is terrible. What I'm fixing to ask you to do. Can you sing the horn's first pitch? Tell me what to play on the piano. Right, I really did put her on the spot. Okay, like totally unfair. What is the horn's written first pitch? Okay, the written D, transposers. Okay. The horn sounds down.
Fourth, opposite.
The horn sounds down what? It sounds down what from the written pitch? Okay, it sounds down from the written pitch, a perfect fit. So what am I gonna play on the piano? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear that? Right, now start your group.
We're about out of time.
I mean,
Okay.
this kind of says, let's do this. This is like a thing, if you're gonna deal with this, okay? So, where are we?
39. Oh, yeah, the trio, 39. So it sounds like you might be starting either half step or half second.
Don't get me.
So,
What's the
let's
first
hear
pitch
your
again?
first note. That D.
Right, and with the third instrument. So the trombones are playing. The horn is playing in concert. You should hear. So we have, okay, keep going.
With that, or should I bring up? I guess
Yeah, let's end well, shall we? Everybody start a trio, let's play a little bit.
39.
Thank you.
And so, don't freak out. So we're gonna go here, I want you to listen to that note. Okay, sing it in your head. Okay, now we're gonna play that again, everybody start at the trio. But listen. You said it right along there. Yeah, he said, it's a half step higher than what he should be. What's the key thing?
See, I said, make sure he watches the
Well, he watched him, he just watched him go by.
I need to give her back her paper that I lost.
Right, so, yes, okay, so that was what's going on. Okay. And did you hear how it sounded like,
Wrong.
first off, thank you for tolerating it. Let's start with that. Secondly, did you hear how it sounded like a clank in the sound, or, like something rubbing together? Like, many times, when people go, there's a wrong note in there, or they don't think, you may not be able to zero in on the pitch itself, but you can hear that there's something wrong. And usually you can tell the layer of the sound that it's in, right? So if it's the horn in this case having an issue, you would hear it in the middle layers of the band. And you might not, you have to kind of ferret it out. It might be the trombones in an upper register, it might be the saxophone somewhere, it could be the horns, it could be a low trumpet in that zone. And you have to just kind of go hunting until you find it. And don't give up until you do, right? Don't apologize for that. And then also, like, how do you speak to someone to tell them the correct pitch? Yeah.
What's the fingering for that E flat? I know.
Right? Okay.
What's the
Um,
trigger finger? Open.
Nice job.
No, I feel okay, but.
What would redeem this for you? What would you like to do? You can have my time for just a minute. What would you like to do with it? You want to play the end of it? I think you want to play the end of it. Why don't we start? I'm gonna get out of your hair. And we're all gonna play our very best. We're gonna give 110%. Where's the last thing?
Well, there's like that starting point.
Let's do that section. Where's the start from band?
I like
Pick up to 89, give your very best 110%. So we exit feeling really good about what we did. Okay?
Yeah, the two pick up now stay.
Yeah. Right on.
Amazing. If you could pass all your papers back, the small slips, and then put your paper tracking folders. If you have to head out now, because you have stuff to do with midterm season, please do. Otherwise, we're going to stick it out for some food. Thanks for coming. Oh, it's dope. They weren't playing. Yeah, we were just kind of like.
Am I getting this too?
Yes, thank you.
There you go. I did it.
You did awesome.
I did the thing. No, what did he say? Oh, yeah, it's true. No, that's what it is.
Thanks. Laying down was the highlight of the night. Very good job.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry.
I
I would like to see. Can I see it?
Oh, I got you. You can tell you all the stuff my students are gonna take.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to talk about?
Sure. Like as soon as you said that, I'm like, wait, I'm hungry yet. Because I went straight from work to an admin meeting. And then I came here.
Oh no.
Wait, wait, maybe still one. Oh no.
So natural.
So, if I know it's a small group, but if you have any questions for Dr. Yeah, Nathan, what?
I just had a question on when I went, and you had told me to stop talking and playing.
Oh, okay.
And we never really talked about it again, and I just wanted to like go over that, I guess.
Why the hell did she say that to me?
Yeah.
Okay, why did I say that to him? Okay, this is true, the more you talk, the less your students are gonna listen. Okay, other reasons, why did I tell him?
I feel like with the piece we were doing, you don't want to give too much instruction on how they should feel before they start to play it, so the students kind of like figure out what to do with themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot to that, allowing them to discover, okay? There's all of these are like, yeah, these are all reasons, okay? What do you think?
Because we hadn't played a note and it's been like 2 minutes.
There's also that, and, so here's what I wanted to save you from, which is talking your way out of your nervousness. Okay, all of you are going to do it. I do it. I have to stop myself. Every time I stand up in front of a new group, I feel like I want to, I need to talk for a minute, and it's for nobody but me. Okay? So, it's like, I'm gonna, like, hey, we got this really lovely, gentle piece here, let's begin, or whatever, like, it's okay to set the, like, there's a, like, because like we have a, who's it said set change, is that your expression? It's a beautiful expression, it's exactly what's going on. There's a set change between this big, this calm and gentle thing, we signal that, sure, but then you kind of need to just get right on into it. So, a lot of times, I think, we talk more than what we need to. I've worked on this too. And so you had said exactly the right amount of things when I stopped you. And if you only have 15 minutes to work on something, don't spend 5 of that talking. And this is going to be very real in your work lives. Do you know how long the average middle school band rehearsal is? At the most, 45 minutes, usually it's around 40. I've been to some schools where it's 35. Okay? You don't, I'll work with all of you at some point about how you really don't explain. Like, if your thought is, I need to tell you what to do, or I need to explain something, no. It'll take too long, and no one's going to understand you anyway. You're going to teach by doing. You're going to teach that way. I've talked about UCC. I'll continue to do that. Those of you that take advanced methods with me, we'll do peer teaching on UCC and get this into your bones. We teach musical concepts, not by talking about them, but by doing them, and then labeling them afterwards, okay? So that's why I stopped, because you don't have that much time to talk. Neither does anybody else when you get into a real group. Because you learn to play the trombone by playing the trombone. That's why. I was really trying, and I hope you didn't feel like I treated you too bad.
No.
I struggle with that part of my job, by the way. Like, I don't want to be ugly. I don't want to be rude. Stop talking.
You know, I'm actually just about to ask something really related to that. I feel like it's hard as a
Yeah, the best, class management you can possibly have is a really good lesson plan and knowing what you're doing. So it's not being a taskmaster. I think of it as like trying to keep all the BBs on the table. When you're a middle school band director, like you're just trying to keep everything on the table and everybody moving forward. At the end of every rehearsal, if you can say that your students did one more thing, learned one more thing, accomplished one more thing, it's a good day in teaching. So you heard the sounds tonight that sound like cow birthing? Okay, the cow birthing phase of beginning band actually the really tough phase of it goes all the way to Christmas. And then it begins to get a little better. And really it's about a 2-year span, 2 years before you're gonna hear pretty good, crystal clear, where students can manage, they've developed the musculature to manage the instrument, be able to make some musical direction. Until then, you're gonna do small things. I always think about, like, by God, I'm going to teach today, and by God, you're going to learn today. And anything that tries to interrupt that, I'm gonna get back to teaching. So you're gonna have percussionists laying down at the beginning. You have 2 choices there as a teacher. You can either lose your marbles and have a big kerfuffle with your percussionist back there and lose time with your students being mad at your percussionist and making them pay and punishing them for laying down in rehearsal. Or you can say, get up, please go stand over there, let's rehearse, and get right back to what you're doing. And so that's not being like if you want to think of that as being a taskmaster, I guess, I don't see it that way. It's more like just being stubborn. I am stubbornly going to teach today. And there's nothing you middle schoolers can do to stop me. I mean, I'll stop and like herd your BB back on my table, but then we're going to rehearse again. And I'm not going to take it personally, and I'm not going to think that you're a horrible person. I'm just going to correct that behavior and go forward. Those are my ideas. And you're going to, and always remember, I mean, I freely say this. The last time I was in a school classroom dealing with real children was over 20 years ago. Okay? And so that's why when you have opportunities to hang out with teachers who are teaching today, it's super important. Or going to classrooms, it's super important before you student teach. People change. Generations change. Even now for me, here tonight, the undergrads I worked with 10 years ago are not you. What you care about, how you behave, the things that you're doing, you're not the same people. As those, like, it's just not. It's just a different world back just 10 years ago. 5 years ago, pre-pandemic, okay? Everything is different. So, I have in my head, if you will, now kind of the imaginary classroom. You know, I have this imaginary classroom. I can conceive of percussionists doing the things that they're doing and reads upside down, but you're also going to deal with lots of other really serious and significant things. You're going to have students sitting in your band that didn't have breakfast that morning or may not have eaten for the last day or two. You're going to have students that haven't slept. You're going to have students whose parents were fighting and the police were called. You're going to have like a number of things that are far more serious than saxophones. Period. Like, so being stubborn about education going forward is the best information I can give you. But what that's going to look like every day in your classroom, in your school, I don't know. Stubborn. I'm blither, I'm sorry. Yeah.
How accurate would you say the behavior today is to like a middle school band?
Actually, kind of. I actually know the origin of these cards that Annie Riley produced, and they really came from her experiences in student teaching. Like, she really dealt with this. And this is, I mean, it's mild, but the other thing that sort of Maddie was experiencing, Maddie's split, that Maddie was experiencing when she got up here is that she's really worried, like, think about it in yourself, like, you're really worried, like, notes, things, and was kind of in herself. So the stuff going around here, she didn't see. That's going to happen to you. And then you're going to see it, like, I don't know, 30 minutes, and deal with it and move on. Stop it and move on. But that is gonna happen. Yeah, it's pretty real.
Kind of bouncing off of that, not like behavior relationships, but like also like musicianship, like quality. Because I kind of noticed back there, like this is my first time like percussionist there, that a lot of things that I like did, like were not noticed, even though they were like kind of like, oh.
I wondered if he was gonna say anything about it, like, I mean, I'm sorry, you're kind of obnoxious back there, man, like, gong, stylings, you know, timpani that was, you know, 3 times louder than his heart, flailing on the snare drum, not one of you mentioned it.
And also, I played like those two instruments with 2 different like mouths at the same time, and it's like, I mean, that is behavior relationships, but it's also like I kind of put in perspective, like as a band director, like I feel like a lot of the focus is on like the winds a lot, and not so much the percussion. So how do you, as a future band director, how do you balance like, because you mostly because all the educational places I've been in, it feels like the band director put the percussionists aside. They're like they know what they're doing, but like it's not, you know, it's never like that.
Gosh, there's so much in that. A lot of times, I have like 10 answers to that question. There's some realness to the fact that new conductors standing up here, the percussion's at the bottom of the page. It's written in a musical discourse that's not as familiar usually, and so it's less. It doesn't register as quick if there's something wrong, and if they see it at all. Then secondly, I look up and visually like trying to take in the percussion section and what's wrong. But I don't know that I didn't get that good at working with percussion. I'm not even sure I'm really all there. Some of y'all are with Hinesley, you know, you can kind of tell me, but it's like sometimes even now I'm like, oh wait, shit, I got percussion, you know, and you're right. So in school, sometimes the way folks deal with percussion, they have percussion class, and that way we can really, you know, deal with things. Sometimes I just deliberately, like, I always feel bad for the percussion section because pretty much they need something metronomically happening, and you've got the band that's crawling along. And it's hard to coordinate that. Beginning band's what I think about. Beginning band books, building band, like, they're, you know, the drum parts like clank, 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 and it's so boring. So there's a lot going on there, and then percussionists playing with 2 different sticks, not having their sticks, not knowing where the instrument is, losing their music. Yeah, that's percussion. But the sooner as conductors you can orient yourself to the fact that there are 3 families in the band, woodwind, brass, and percussion, they all deserve equal time and equal consideration, the happier all of your goes. It takes a little bit of practice on your part. Right. Just for the record, I'm from the South. I was born in Georgia. I did my undergraduate at Carson Newman College. I was in that old-timey time. You would be multiply certified in different musics. And so I was duly certified to teach choral music and winds, but I was a big band. But I was a person that grew up doing band at school and choir at church. I've always just sort of done both. I did a master's degree in conducting at the University of Tennessee, and worked at the Pride of Southland Marching Band there, was part of the graduate staff. Went to Arizona State University for my doctorate, was still on band staff there, so I worked as a TA, marching band TA for the Sun Devils. And then I did 7 years as a collegiate band director at Albany College in Michigan, and I've been here at the University of Illinois for 7 years. My public school teaching experience is that when I graduated from Carson Newman, I taught for 5 years, and I was down in Georgia for a few years near my family, and then I taught up in Tennessee for a bit, and then I left that job because I did, and I worked with those homeschooled in East Tennessee for 6 years. I started a band program there, independent contracting band director, and then spent 6 years teaching instrumental music students in East Tennessee. Started a band program there. So I was teaching like 45 private lessons a week. I had 2 bands, and those bands still exist. So 20-something years later, the community found it valuable enough that they kept those bands, developed a board around them, and actually still exist. So I'm really proud of that. Like, did a thing there. That's that. That's my background. So I have some public school, I have some private entrepreneurial kinds of things, about 7 years of collegiate wind work, and then doing music ed here. And I've always sort of been on both sides of the street, and then I've always had like I've always been a band director sort, and I've always been doing music ed sort. And in other schools, rarely are those things apart, but in big flagship universities like this, you have a music ed faculty, you have a band faculty, and I work on the music ed side. But very lucky that we have a great band program that is really welcoming, and I get some really nice opportunities to not atrophy as a conductor and director. So often I'll do summer band here, I'll do Irish band. I get a bit of podium. All right, that's that. Good enough? All right, those that I haven't seen in 350 yet, I'll see you in 350. That'll be the first time you see me in class, and the rest of you onward.
Thank you, all y'all who came. So I don't have scores from you because it goes back. Like conductors, if you could stick around and we'll put parts back in slow order. Good practice. And I think our next event is 2 weeks from tonight. We'll do another evening.
Is it a concert again, or jazz band?
I'm not sure yet. It's a concert.
Cool.
Next jazz is on Halloween.
Halloween, wow.
So great.
Hey, oh, I can cover that one.
Nice. We'll
Thank
have
you,
you.
Dr.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, Kira. We'll see you later.